Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Make a Good Mega Man Level Contest 2, or Magmal 2 for short. During the last part, I completed the 2 levels, City Under Siege, as well as Escape Sequence. So in this part, I'll be completing Tier 8, after all there's only 1 level and a boss left. So off screen, I decided to purchase the Roku-chan costume, for a very particular reason which you'll see soon enough at the end of this tier. Anyways, Roku-chan works about the same way as all the other characters, with some differences of course. Those being with the Rush Coil and Rush Jet. The Rush Coil is effectively the Beetle Coil. The Rush Jet is the Beetle Jet, also from the original game of Roku-chan. The Wire Adapter works the same way, but funnily enough, there is an issue with how the Sakugarne works, which hasn't been fixed yet. When we summon Sakugarne here, well, we effectively summon Roku-chan holding an invisible Sakugarne, but once we jump onto it, it's fine. So yeah, that bug hasn't been fixed in version 1.3.1. From what the devs have said, it'll be fixed in version 1.4. It's still really humorous to look and see how the sprite masks have been messed up. I decided to climb back down this tower because there is one secret over here which I overlooked. In order to access it, climb up this ladder, aim towards left, specifically above the teleporter for Aurora Man, and either get the Rush Jet or Super Arrow. I rather prefer Super Arrow because it's a bit faster. Jump on it, and get onto here. We have the secret teleporter, and for this Easter egg, I will be silent. Well, that was something. As a brief bit of explanation, well, not much actually. Sanct is based on, I believe, the user Sanct from the SMBX and Talkhaus forums. Also, there are 2 things that he mentioned that will become important later on. One of which was Voltmen, but that will be in about a dozen or so parts, 2 dozen more specifically. And also the energy elements. Those will become more important later on as well. Specifically during the final boss encounter in the Wily Fortress, of course. I was wishing that we would have somewhat of a boss battle where we just aimlessly wander around while neither of us can kill each other. Also, he still mentions we collected several dozen energy elements even if we didn't collect any and go to this area first. It's a neat little Easter egg. Oh, hello there, Comet Woman. I'm not sure if it's possible to fall all the way down this tower to the base floor. It may be. I'll have to try that out later on. Anyways, the last level in this tier, in 19th place, is Bondman by the Skipper 1995 with a score of 35.8. All the judges, excluding Guri, really liked it, or at least had an above average rating of it. Especially Pyro and Angel. Only one energy element. Also, if you're wondering, the Skipper 1995 is the creator of the Mega Man fan games Dr. Wily's Final Attack, as well as Mega Man 2 Atari D-Make, as well as Maho Warrior. Now, unlike the previous 4 levels I played, I haven't really seen a playthrough of this stage by any of the playthrough creators, so this will be my first impressions. Okay, we're first introducing the Crazy Razies. Also, I hope we actually have a Bondman at the end. I believe this stage will be based off the Bondman concept that was unused in Mega Man 1. He was going to be the 7th Robot Master based off of glue or something. So I guess most of the enemies here are going to be just Mega Man 1 enemies. We do have the Crazy Razies after all. And they're first introduced in safe environments and now they're being introduced in more dangerous ones. So this is going to be probably a traditional Mega Man level. Although having the charge shot makes it a lot easier. And here are the glue gimmicks. We have the glue drops, I believe, which create these glues, or create these bond platforms, or whatever. Getting hit by the glue drops does damage you. And walking through the glue slows you down, of course. You can slide, though. So to get off of it quickly, just jump out of it. It's not as bad as the glue drops or glue portions of the stage from Glue Man's level. Oh neat, we also have Glue Devils, which act a bit differently from the Petite Devils. For one, they are indestructible to my Mega Buster shots. And once you destroy them, they act like spines, basically. And you can stun them by just repeatedly shooting at them. Can something destroy them, actually? The Jewel Satellite can destroy them. I want to test out something, though. Can something else destroy them? It still says I'm doing damage, but in reality, I'm not really doing anything. Slash Claw also works. I think the Wheel Cutter also works, but I want to double check. Okay, it seems that sharp weaponry works against the Glue Devils. Sakugane as well. Okay, we have a modified version of the fire tellies. Instead we have the glue tellies, which drop these glue shots. And we have regular beaks. I kind of wish we had glue beaks or something. I also noticed something. When sliding through the glue, you move at normal speed. It doesn't slow down your speed to half. So it makes going through the glue a lot more bearable. I'm also really thankful that the Jewel Satellite is one of the weaknesses of the Glue Devils. It makes going through these segments a lot easier. And it seems there's only 4 or 5 enemy types in the stage, those being the Crazy Razies, Glue Devils, Glue Tellies, the Beaks. And outside of the glue gimmick, we also have the glue drops, if you want to count those as enemies. So this stage is certainly more on the conservative side of level enemies. I guess it's similar to Mega Man 1 in that regard. It's a solid level design overall, but honestly, I prefer Glue Man's stage from Mega Man Unlimited. It more well utilized the glue gimmicks, and it had more unique enemies, more enemy placements, as well as a better musical team, personally speaking. If this stage had more unique enemies, probably a lot more respriting, maybe make the Crazy Razies as well as the Beaks glue types, I'd like this level a lot more. At the very least, it's decent, and the challenge progression and enemy introduction are good. Okay, I can actually dissipate those spikes by just using the Jewel Satellite. I mean the droplets. And that's why I don't like jumping out of glue here. It's better to slide here because the spikes are so close by. I'm making this stage look a lot harder than it is because of the spike positioning mainly. I'll just use Hakugarne here for safety. I had some issues grabbing the ladder there after all. Okay, so the spike segments are getting a lot more difficult. Not taking any chances there, especially with the jump height. At the very least, the end of the stage is there. It's like a traditional Mega Man 1 level in that regard. If this was a more traditional Mega Man fangame level, it would go on for at least 5 or 10 more screens. So it does feel somewhat like an authentic Mega Man 1 level, with sliding added. And we actually have a Bondman encounter taking place on all of these glue blocks. And just like Glue Man, he can glue you in place if you're not careful. Okay, I get the pattern. Whenever I shoot at him, he jumps over me and tries to find the glue glob. So as long as I slide and get the pattern right, it's easy. Especially if I use a charge shot. Okay, so that was Glue Man. It kinda reminds me of the Crash Man encounter in that way. Although the punishment for getting hit is a lot more brutal because you get frozen in place. While it's well designed, it's just that I feel like another stage did the glue gimmicks better, and I wish there was another gimmick to work with the glue gimmick itself, because outside the glue gimmick there was nothing else. And there was only really 4 enemy types. I would have preferred if there was 2 more creative ones. At the very least, the glue devils were pretty neat. It may be just me in my opinion, but I kind of prefer the previous 4 stages over this one. If I were to place it, I would put it probably in the bottom of Tier 8 next to Force Man, and whatever that sled stage was. Challenge progression and introduction of gimmicks and enemies were nice, and there was no problems with any difficulty spikes. I agree with Joopy, it's an alright level. Bondman was fine, but I would have preferred if he was less predictable, or had another attack like sliding. It may be just me in the fact that I don't like how the gimmicks are introduced, or rather not introduced but used here. Like I mentioned before, I like more how Glue Man did its gimmicks, or Glue Man's glue gimmicks, what with the moving conveyor belts, as well as the glue sticking you in place, as well as there being more creative enemies, and more enemies in general. I wouldn't be as harsh as Guriri is here, but it's probably a 30 for me. 30 or 32. And yeah, this really felt like a Mega Man 1 stage done right. Or done better than most of the Mega Man 1 stages, for sure. Really, the glue devils are one of the most awesome highlights of this level. I like how they effectively turned into spines once you destroyed them, or destroyed the big portion. Oh, it's effectively Crash Man, I knew it. An additional attack would be nice. After all, he is super predictable once you get the hang of it. But as I mentioned, I'd probably give it a 30 or 32. I would place it at the bottom of Tier 8, along with Force Man, but it failed to convince me that it wasn't Hell. With that level completed, there's only one thing left to do in this grand tower, and that is face the boss. I also really like how there are several energy orbs orbiting around the tower. It makes me think there's a secret generator in this place. Now, this boss fight is the reason why I picked the Roku-chan costume first. I will play through this boss fight at least once more with the regular costume, aka a non-Roku-chan costume. And you'll see why now. The boss of Tier 8 is Jetman from Roku-chan, which isn't necessarily a Mega Man fan game, but is heavily inspired by Mega Man Classic. And yes, I will cover that in an LP in the future. This is one of my favorable, or one of my more favorite of the Roadmaster encounters or tier bosses, mainly because of how well it utilizes the rotating tower gimmick, although it can be a little bit of an issue facing at your first time if you're not paying attention, because of how fast he can orbit around you or try dive bombing you, or by dropping missiles. After all, he still has his jet missile attack, and it's a bit more dangerous in comparison to before because he can move around quickly. Not to mention he can also summon a shield. I mean, he even drops napalm bombs. But nonetheless, Jetman falls. It can be quite a chaotic fight, not as chaotic as Lord Eliwufro though, but still chaotic. Alright, that's the end of Tier 8. Let's get out of here. Can we fall all the way down though? Well, I guess not. Let's get out of here. So that's Tier 8 completed, all 11 energy elements and 26 noble nickels. There are a few things left to do though. That being, I need to show off the boss again, so I'll be visiting the costume shop to switch my costumes. This time to Joe Man. Actually, well, okay, I'll just use Joe Man here. Never mind, actually, let me switch over to the next costume, which I will be utilizing in the next part. That being me IRL. I got this by getting crushed by the Crusher way back in Tier 2, that being Gigavolt Man. Now, just like the Metal, my hitbox is still the same as the regular costume, so keep that in mind. So let's pay a visit to the chateau and see if we have enough noble nickels for everything else. And we should also see Jetman somewhere in the chateau. Good, for 100 nickels we get the ability to use custom costumes, which I will talk about more in a future part, but basically now you can effectively add in your own costumes to the game yourself, and play as almost any character as long as you put in all the correct animation frames, which I think was a super awesome thing for the devs to add. I will utilize some custom costumes in the future, that's for sure. Especially for a particular stage in the future. One of the stages in Tier 10, that is. Okay, for some reason, Jetman isn't here. So it's time to show off the last thing of this stage. So time to climb up all the way back up this tower. I wish there was a bit of a faster route, but this works. The wheel cutter works pretty well for scaling up this tower after all. Also, the climbing animation is quite hilarious. I wonder though where MeIRL actually stores his arm. Never mind, he uses his leg as the buster, or foot really. So MeIRL basically has a leg buster, or foot buster. I don't know how this originated. I know the meme, but I don't know exactly how the Mega Man version of this originated. I saw this being used as an emote or emoticon in the Magmal 2 Discord. I guess it was carried on from there. Also, if you're wondering, well, I'll show this after I fight the boss, of course. This time, figure out what his weakness is. This time, using any other skin, the character will mention, "Have we met before?" and Jetman will respond, "No." Whereas Roku-chan will of course recognizes him. Okay, that isn't his weakness. That isn't his weakness either. Nope. 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 It seems to be the Sakugarne. Well, it makes sense due to Goomba stopping, I guess. And that's one way of facing Jetman. Oh yeah, by the way, I'll show off all the custom costumes or the custom effects from MeIRL in the next part. This will be a little bit of a shorter part, mainly because I want to cover 3 levels in the next part. The part after the next one is going to be quite long. If you jump off of here, it's an instant death pit. That's what Comet Woman was warning about earlier. Normally, if you jump off the tower, I would kind of expect you to just warp out of the level, basically. Oh well. We have everything we need. I think the next reward for Noble Nickels is about at 120 or 130, but don't quote me on that, I'll have to double check. I'll write that in the description below. So that's Tier 8 Grand Tower. So in the next part, I'll move into Tier 9, the Festival Grounds. Well then, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Toodles!